Have you ever tried to explain what your business does to someone else and suddenly you feel like you don't even understand what your business does? Welcome. You're in great company. In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn your website into something clear, confident, and into a tool that actually helps you get customers. We've been taught that marketing is super technical and complicated and that only the pros can really do it. But that belief keeps a lot of businesses stuck. Here's the truth, especially for small businesses, clarity beats out complicated marketing tactics every time. And I know this because a simple clarity shift for one client helped them increase their reoccurring revenue by 36%. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the exact 3-part framework that we use with our clients to turn websites into a tool that actually helps you get customers. Let's jump in. Now, these 3 steps in this framework do not necessarily have to be done in order. The best way to start is just to test your website against each one, figure out which one needs the most work, and start there. Because chances are you're actually doing pretty well in at least 1 or 2 of these 3. Though we can always improve, start with the one that needs the most improvement and work from there. Or if you just need a quick win to boost your morale, because let's be honest, as business owners, we need that.
I want that.
Start with the one you're doing the best at and just make a little bit of a change and see how wonderful it is, and then move on to the more difficult ones. So today we're going to start small, lead with clarity, and focus on basing everything we do on simple human communication. And that's exactly what this 3-part framework does. It simplifies everything down to the essentials to help your website feel clear, feel confident, and make it so easy for people to use and find the information they need that those who are ready to buy and ready to hire you just slide in.
Let me know what it is and I'll order it. I'm in.
So let's jump into step 1, simplify. It is one of the most important pieces when it comes to marketing. Confusion is the enemy of success as a business owner. If you want clients and customers to come, you need to tell them why. So we want to simplify the message. A lot of people get caught up in the whole fancy dancy. I'm going to come up with this really cool, flowery way to say what I do and sound intriguing because we're obsessed with hooks right now, right? And to be honest, our minds are stretched so thin these days with advertisings coming at us from every direction. It's exhausting. So if you are making it harder for your clients and customers to even figure out what you do, chances are they're not going to take the mental effort to figure it out. So your goal with this section is to make sure that if someone comes to your website, they can immediately figure out 3 things: who you are, what you do, and why it matters to them. One way you can test this is to have someone who maybe isn't as familiar with what you do go to your website, give them 3 to 5 seconds, and then stop, pull them away, and ask them those 3 questions and see how they answer. You may get an interesting response, and it may not be what you expect, because as business owners, we know the ins and outs of every piece of our business. So sometimes we forget what we don't know. And so we add things onto our website thinking, oh yeah, of course they're going to understand that. And yet someone else comes to the website who doesn't have the context we have, and they're totally lost. So try the 3 to 5 second rule and see what kinds of insights you can pull from those tests. Okay, now we've simplified our message. We also kind of want to know who we're talking to, because the more you are familiar with the person you're talking to, the better you're able to adjust your manner of speech, the words you use, and the things you say to connect with that specific person. For example, I'm not going to speak to my 3-year-old niece in the same way I speak to my 13-year-old nephew, because they're different. They have different contextual understandings of the world. They have different backgrounds. They have different personalities. I'm going to speak to them very differently. And it's the same with customers. And those of you in coaching, therapy, very people-heavy industries, you are going to be incredible at this. You may not feel like you're good at marketing, but we're going to talk about this because you do this in your job every single day. And it's the same in marketing. You just need to apply those same tactics in just a little bit of a different way. But it's all about understanding people. So the first step is to figure out who your target audience is. Now, that's a really jargony phrase. A lot of people throw that around, but all that really means is, who are you trying to sell to? If you could have your perfect customer, the person you love to work with or would love to sell to, or the person your product is created for, who is that person? What do they struggle with? How can your product help them? What is their life like? What kinds of things are important to them? Those are the kinds of things that you need to understand, because then you can speak to them as though you know them. And that's when you create an emotional connection. Emotion pulls people in. Logic, like statistics, analytics, promises, social proof, things like that, that's what sells in the end. But emotion connects, emotion pulls in, emotion builds trust and authority. So who is that customer for you? What are their questions, their desires, their needs, their hopes and dreams? And how do you fit in that picture? Write that out, put it somewhere safe, use that as you are writing all of your content, whether it's advertisements, social media, your website. And now, with your message simplified, your audience defined, the final step is to amplify that message. And we're going to do that by showing the value that you bring to this audience you've just defined. And we've alluded to this already a little bit, but people don't buy features. They buy outcomes. They want to know how buying your product or engaging in your services is going to improve their life or their business. When they can picture that and picture themselves within that outcome with your services or because of your services or your product, the buying becomes so much easier for them. You just need them to be able to see themselves in the outcome and see it as something that is going to improve their life or their business. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking, yeah, that totally makes sense, but actually implementing it sounds really overwhelming and painful, that's why we exist. Because we know even with a clear framework, rebuilding or reorganizing your website can be a lot of work. And as business owners, we have a lot on our plates. That's why our team offers both full website redesigns as well as just consulting if you want someone to sit down with you and walk you through it. Using the same framework we've talked about today, we can help you simplify your message, clarify your audience, and amplify your value to help you turn your website from just an information hub into a tool that actually helps you as a business. So if that sounds helpful to you, click the link in the description below to get connected with our team. We would love to be part of your growth journey. The cool thing about this framework is it works for more than just content. This has been a very content heavy video because, as almost every marketer in the world will tell you, content is so important. It is key. A lot of people use the phrase content is king, and it absolutely is. It's very important. It's core to what you do. If your content doesn't make sense, you're not going to convert anybody. But once you have a solid foundation in your content, if you want to elevate even more, next you take the same framework and you apply it to your design, which is exactly what we'll be doing in an upcoming video. So if this video has been helpful to you, click subscribe so you get notified when we launch the next video. We would also love to hear your feedback. What kinds of things helped you? Is there anything you would like to learn more from this video? Add your comments below and we're excited to hear what you have to say. And until next time, I'm Melanie at Squeaky Shoes Media. Happy marketing.